anything that I feel like I'm outgrowing, I'm leaving it in my 20s. So I think that this might be one of the most important things that I am doing to invest in my future. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's Christina. This video is all about everything that I'm doing in my 20s to set myself up for success. So I'm only 22 and I know that is very young, but I'm just trying to get on it. Like, I just know that time is of the essence, and I'm the type of person where I feel like time is the most valuable thing a person can have. And so I'm just not trying to waste it. So everything that I'm going to mention are things that I'm doing personally to make sure that I live the life that I want to in my 30s and even in my late 20s. So I'm just trying to put in the work now so it can pay off later. And also, if you are not in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, 40s, however old you are, I would love to hear everything that you wish that you did in your 20s, or things that you did do in your 20s that kind of helped you gain a level of success that you did. So yeah, please leave it down below if you have anything that you want to offer or add to the conversation when it comes to advice that you would want to give people in their 20s like me. So let's just get straight into the video. So the very first thing that I'm doing to ensure my success in the future is learning a skill that I can monetize. I'm also a real estate agent, if you didn't know, and so today I had an open house, and literally the agent that was the listing agent for the house, he told me, he was like, yeah, I was literally in marketing for 18 years and they just laid me off. And he said that that's when he decided to become a realtor, because even though he was faithful to a company for 18 years, they literally made the decision to lay that man off. That taught me anything. It taught me the importance of having a skill that you can monetize, because no matter how good of a job you have, they can dispose of you at any time. These companies don't care about us. These companies do not care. Imagine working for a company for that long and the next day they're just like, yeah, sorry, we're laying you off. All that hard work and dedication that you put into that company meant nothing. Like, these companies literally do not care. So that is why I'm definitely making sure that I have skills on top of just what I want to do for my 9 to 5, because I know that at the end of the day, to these companies, I'm replaceable. I am traveling. I am catching flights. I'm getting out there and I'm seeing the world. And when I say traveling, I'm not talking about Miami or New York or LA. I'm talking about I'm going international. Because guys, I have already been to a handful of countries outside of America, and the biggest thing that I have learned from traveling abroad is that people in America love to hear that you have these experiences. People in America, when you have a job interview, when you're interviewing for an internship, they love to hear where you've been and what you took from that experience. Even though I've only been to a handful of countries, I've already seen the payoff of how me going to all these other places has benefits to it. Almost every time I've had a job interview and I put that I've been abroad on my resume, that's one of the questions they always ask me about. And when they ask me, they're asking me to understand what I learned from that experience. When you travel and when you see other places, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. You just become far more well-rounded. And even besides the benefits that it can have for you career-wise, it also has a great benefit just personal wise, because I learned so much from seeing how a different country operates, and I learned so much from seeing how different cultures operate. I highly suggest, guys, go see the world, go learn, become well-rounded, because that's something that you can apply to almost every aspect of your life. The next thing that I'm doing is I'm learning anything and everything. And this is something that I think is so valuable, because I know if you're in one industry, you kind of tend to stick to things in that industry. Like, if you do marketing, you're kind of just gonna only try to grow and expand in marketing. But one thing that I've realized is that I love learning things in different areas and in different industries. And doing this is just so fun to me, because if I'm going out and I go to an event and some people are talking to me about things that they might not think I know anything about, and I just say things and they're like, oh, I didn't expect you to know that. It's like, yeah, you didn't expect me to know that, but I just know it because I'm the type of person that I like to gain knowledge in so many different areas. And doing this will also make you so much more marketable to other people. If you can carry a conversation with different people, no matter what room you walk in, you're off to a great start in life. And this is so important, guys. Don't just stick to what you know. Don't just stick to the things you're interested in. Push yourself to learn things that you might not have even considered learning before, because it's just gonna make you so much more of a well-rounded person. You're gonna be able to relate to so many more people. So that's just another thing. Just be a sponge. Just soak up any knowledge you can. Having more knowledge in anything is always going to be a benefit to you in one way or another. And this next one is something that I did early on, and I tried as many different things as I possibly could. And guys, my whole trajectory in college was law school. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to undergrad, I'm gonna go to law school and be an attorney. And mind you, it's like almost a year since I graduated college and I'm not in law school, because I figured out that that's not what I want to do. So basically, if you're in your 20s and you're young, I think think the best thing that you can do for yourself is to have internships in jobs that you think you are interested in, or just get experience in areas that you think you're interested in. I had internships for different government related things, and one thing I realized is that I did not want to go to law school, and I'm so glad that I figured that out early on, because that prevented me from wasting so much money, so much time and dedication on something that I realized that I truly was not passionate in. So just really trying everything. It doesn't even have to be an internship. It could be a volunteer opportunity, something where just for a day you see what that's like. Because that way you would also meet people that do what you're interested in. And so you could ask them, you could be like, how was your experience in this? And maybe just based off that conversation, you could realize something that maybe you didn't think about before. So really just try different things out and go and put yourself in different spaces where you can learn more about what you do and do not want to do. And this can save you so much time and money, because if you just go into something because you think you want to do it, but you don't really try it first, I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of risky, because if you don't try it first, it's like, do you even really know that's what you want to do? So yeah, that's what I did. I just started trying everything. Every career that I kind of was interested in, I did something to dip my feet in the water for it. Like I was interested in marketing too. And so I did like a Google certificate program in marketing and analytics and stuff. And I liked it, but I also realized that I don't think I would want to do that for a full-time job either. So even just doing like online classes or anything where you can kind of see what it's like or what kind of work that field does will help you see if that's something you really want to do. So another thing is that I introduced myself to old interests, and this is such an underrated one to me, because I feel like the older you get, the more you just lose yourself. Like I feel like the more you become an adult, you just forget everything that brought you joy, brought you happiness. And this is something that I had to be intentional about, because I'm not trying to lose myself. Like I don't want to be that person that's like 30, 40 and just hates their life and is just doing something because I have to do it. So I started reintroducing myself to everything that brought me joy as a child, because it still brings me joy now. And it's like, why rob myself of something that makes me happy? So I started knitting again, even coloring, and just getting coloring books and just coloring while I'm watching something on Netflix. It just is such a simple way to like bring joy back into your life. And it's like, wow, I see why kids do this. Like I see why kids love to color, because it's so like therapeutic. And these things are things that really can help us, but we don't really do it enough, because society just like tells us, oh, we're grown now, like that's for kids. Like no, like coloring is for anybody. Like all that stuff is for anybody. Whatever you were interested in when you were a child, just try it again and see how much it like calms you and how much you enjoy it still. That's a challenge. Do that. Yeah. And the next thing is I invest in myself any chance I get. And this can be in so many different ways, but for me, it was like in my education. Like after college, I graduated, but I got my real estate license, and now I'm working towards a different certificate, and I'm just reading and like doing whatever I can that will ensure that I always have something that I can fall back on, because people cannot take knowledge from you. No one can take your skill sets from you. And I believe that that is just something that is so important for myself. So I love investing in anything I can that will make me a better person. So this one kind of ties into the last one, but I would definitely say that in my 20s, I'm focusing on healing and reflecting, because I think it's important to make sure that you're not bringing trauma with you. Like I know we all have something that we don't want to carry with us, and that's why I think it's so important to reflect and to do inner work. Everything that you experience is valid, but I think it's important to work past it and work through it, no matter how long and how hard it takes, because you don't want to carry that with you your whole life. Because I think if you hold on to trauma too long, it's going to affect you in ways that you don't even realize. You have so much life to live left in your 20s. When you're 20, you still have so much more years left. So why don't we just address this now before we have to carry it with us for the rest of our lives? Like there's no better time to address something than right now. And I think that reflecting is just so imperative. No matter what age you are, no matter what age, I think it's always important to constantly reflect and reevaluate, because we can always grow and learn from our past mistakes. So this is just something that I've definitely been so much more intentional on now that I'm in my 20s. And the next one, guys, is I'm not settling. I'm at that point where if I want something, that is what I'm aiming for. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to my social life, when it comes to whatever, I'm not settling. I'm way too young to settle for things, because I don't have to. I cannot be in my 20s thinking this is the best it'll get for me, let me just settle. Oh, we're not doing that. We're just too young. Like I think that's how I feel. I just feel like I'm too young to settle for anything, because unless it's exactly what I want, it's on to the next thing. Like, that's just really how I feel. And this is something that I specifically have come across in relationships, because I don't know, I feel like a lot of people settle in relationships because they think that's the best that they're gonna get. And no matter what age you are, I feel like too, I just feel like settling is postponing what's meant for you. When I say I'm not gonna settle, I just mean that if I have non-negotiables, or I have something that I know for a fact that I want in someone, that's what I'm going with. I'm not gonna change my non-negotiables right now. I'm not gonna change the things that I know for sure I want in someone, because that's settling. And I'm too young to feel like I need to stick to something. I'm just not doing that. I'm just not gonna stay in something longer than what it serves me for, because I think we have a habit of doing that. And I think this could be job related, this could be relationship related. Anything that I feel like I'm outgrowing, I'm leaving it in my 20s. I'm just saying, okay, on to the next thing. I don't want to be comfortable. I'm not staying anywhere I don't have to stay. And also, guys, this is my time to be selfish. This is your time to be selfish and figure out what you want. Because in the future, I'm gonna have more obligations. Like, I realize I'm gonna have a husband, I'm gonna have kids, and that's for later. But now, this is for me. I need to realize what I want to do. I need to figure out myself. I need to learn what makes me happy, what brings joy to my life. So this is just my time to be selfish and live my life. And the next thing I'm doing, guys, is I'm not playing it safe. My 20s are for risks, but I will say calculated risks. I am the type of person, I've never been scared of a good risk. I just feel like without risk comes no reward. Like, I'm sure everyone hears that a lot, but that's truly how I feel. Like, my 20s are solely for risk, good risk, and just trying anything and everything that I think is gonna help me get to where I wanna be. And this ties into the last one, but just like not being scared to make mistakes. Because I know I'm young and I know I'm gonna make mistakes, but I can't live in fear of making mistakes. I'm just making sure that the mistakes I make are reversible and not anything that's gonna completely derail my life. But besides that, I'm just not gonna be scared to make mistakes, because it's gonna happen, you know, mistakes happen. And the next thing I'm doing to invest in my 20s is learning how to balance. And guys, this is huge too. I hear two main opinions on this. Like, the first one is work hard in your 20s so you don't have to work hard like in the future. And the second one is like, oh, your 20s are fun, like don't overwork it, like you'll never have them again. And so for me, I'm realizing that you just have to mesh the two. Like, that is something that I have to do, me personally. Like, I'm just speaking for me, because I feel like I'm using my 20s to get ahead, and I'm using my 20s to put in the work so I hopefully don't have to work as hard in the future. But at the same time, I'm never gonna be this young again. I think while I know I am actively working towards everything that I want in life, I don't feel like I'm left out. I don't feel like I'm missing out on like all the fun that my 20s holds for me, because I feel like I am still having fun at the same time. I feel like that all comes down to balance and just knowing that sometimes I am gonna have to prioritize my goals over having fun, but other times I can't just lose sight of the fact that I also need to enjoy my 20s as well, and I make time for that too. And it really just all comes down to balance. Another reason why balance is so important, because you don't want to burn out in your 20s. And I have talked to a lot of people who tell me that they burned out too quickly, and this is something that I'm trying to very much avoid, because no, like, I'm not just about to be working my whole 20s just to be burnt out in my 30s. So this is why balance is so huge, because you just have to pace yourself, and while you're putting in work, you have to make sure that you just rest your mind and don't get too burnt out too soon. So the next thing that I'm doing to ensure my success is I'm trying to master discipline. I just personally feel like discipline is a crucial factor when it comes to obtaining success, and I'm just really trying to master it because it is very important. I think discipline can make a world of a difference between whether you obtain the life you want or if you don't. And that's just my opinion. So I'm really trying my best in my 20s to make sure that it is something that I am working on. I am also trying to build good financial habits. And this is also something where I said trying, because it is hard. And so I'm just trying to get in the habit of doing better and saving more, and also putting money into my investment accounts, just things like that, because I think that is a good habit to have no matter how old you are, but I think it's very crucial in your 20s. And the next one is I am continuously working on my relationship with God. Like, that is one of the most crucial things for me, is ensuring that my relationship with God is strong, because I just want that to be the foundation of everything that I do. So I think that this might be one of the most important things that I am doing to invest in my future. I am realizing the importance of networking. And guys, already, like, I am 22, but one thing that I am realizing is a lot of things depend on who can vouch for you. Because I've been in situations where just because I know someone and they know me and they put a good word in for me, it's like, oh, you know her, okay, you must be good, or you must, that kind of thing. And I think this is something that a lot of people know but don't actually like do it. And I'm just saying, do it. Put yourself in those situations where you're in a room and you don't know anybody. When you do this, you will meet so many people. But what I would say is do this with people who know more than you. Networking is how you skip the line, and I'm not even lying. And I've seen this happen so many times, and it's happened for me, where it's like, just because I know someone, even though everyone else applied for the same thing or everyone wants the same opportunity, because I know someone, I'm at the front of the line. You know what I mean? It's those types of things that are so crucial, whether it's a career opportunity or just any opportunity or whatever. The importance of networking is, I can't even articulate how important this is. Something else that ties into this is building a community of people who are different from you as well. Like, guys, I put myself into any types of circles. Like, I think it's so important not to just have your sphere look like you, because how are you gonna learn? How are you gonna grow? I'm always challenging myself to make sure that I know people who have a different perspective than me, that have different career aspirations as me, that have different experiences than me, because that is where I'm gonna learn. And that is how I'm going to become a more developed person. I would challenge you guys to put yourself in different circles, and you might never know how much it can pay off for you. But yeah, guys, those are all the things that I'm doing right now to hopefully ensure that my future is bright. And like I said at the beginning, if you have any wisdom or words of advice for people in like their 20s right now, please comment below. I would love to hear it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.